Hello there and welcome back. And this week I'm talking about redundancy. Now the truth about redundancy is that it is shit. However you dress it up, the actual word, the actual thought, the reality, it is shit. Why is that? Well, it's because it's not your choice, and we don't like having choice taken away from us on any level. There's one exception, and that is the odd one called voluntary redundancy. And this is when the company has made the decision and they want you to think it was your decision. Genius. Absolute genius. Protection of brand reputation so that you can brag in the pub. Do you remember those places? Those places that you used to go to spend more per glass of wine than you'd normally spend on a whole bottle to drink at home, but still think it was great. Anyway, in the real world, oftentimes redundancy is forced, and therefore it is shit. Control has been taken away. It's out of your hands, or at least the process is. The traditional 8-stage redundancy change curve kicks in with a vengeance. Now I'm going to take you through it in the hope that you can feel some reassurance that each part of the process has been experienced before. If not by you, by many who have been faced with being made redundant. So stage 1 is shock. How can this be happening to me? I'm comfortable. What if? How will I? Why me? Which then moves into the phase of denial. And this is where defensive energy results in a temporary improvement in performance and mood. Because it's easier for us to cling on to the rhetoric that is often delivered by the person passing that message on. For example, we'll do all we can to minimise the requirement for this to happen and support you all the way. This means that denial can actually fix in our mind, because that's the one piece of information in the process that we've latched onto. Which moves on to section 3, which is anger and blame. Realisation that the change is still happening. It can result in denial turning into internalised anger. It's not fair. It's all their fault. At this point, there's no one else in the world with any other problems. It's your moment to wallow and conveniently ignore worldwide problems. You believe this is the end of your world as you know it, which leads to bargaining and self-blame. Blame becomes internalised and people start to bargain to try and prevent the change. So, for example, by offering solutions that fit their agenda and are positioned to help everyone. What can I do more of? Once the realisation hits that you're not indispensable, how can you make yourself indispensable? At which point, sometimes part 5 kicks in, which is depression and confusion. The realisation that change is unavoidable leads to the lowest point in terms of energy and morale. The worst emotions kick in, and a tsunami of feelings, thoughts and emotions can be really overwhelming. This is a really dangerous phase, and one where both employers and the people outside of your employer, your circle, will struggle as they become aware of you struggling. You then move to part 6 of the traditional change curve, which is acceptance. And eventually change is accepted. An inevitability comes to the fore, and you perhaps reluctantly agree with yourself to face the future. And this leads to the 7th phase, which is problem solving. Having an epiphany and realising that you can take control of your response to this circumstance. An action plan in your head or on paper will emerge, which in turn leads to part 8, which is euphoria. Dopamine is released and you suddenly have a purpose, a plan, some actions. Now, just to lighten it, on the subject of euphoria, I have a very good friend of mine called Wayne Cara Douglas. Have a little Google. He's excellent and sings the song Euphoria with amazing passion. Anyway, I digress. It's important to note at this stage that euphoria can be short-lived and regression to an early stage of the process may be revisited. This is okay, as long as you rationalise the thought process and know it's only temporary. It will get better. In summary, allow yourself to confirm it's shit, but be reassured it's normal to feel all those stages, and each of us will go through them in our own way, at our own pace. Your world will continue. It may not be the usual that you're used to, but be sure that you can control the next chapter. And if you need help, please feel free to get in touch, and I look forward to hearing from you.